everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to talk about all the books that I read last week. So I have been Slump City. Honestly, I was prepping the next video you'll see, which is my October stats and reviews and things, and I just have not been having great months. I've been having low averages, which then just makes me not want to read and all of that. So this last week was October 25th through the 31st. So it worked out just perfectly that it ended October, and now I'm feeling better into November, but let's talk about October. So first we'll start with the 2 middle grade that we read, and then we'll talk about the adults, and then I'll tell you what I'm currently reading. So we read, we have it. Nina Soni, Halloween Queen. This is number 4 in a series, but we have not read any of the series before. We just saw this at the library and picked it up because we're approaching Halloween. And this is about a girl named Nina Soni. She is a Indian American girl, and her best friend is Jay. And it's a boy named Jay. They've grown up together. Their families are very close, et cetera, et cetera. And he won't tell her what his Halloween costume is. So she's like, fine, I'm going to make something cool and not tell you. And she's going to be a Halloween queen. And she creates this whole, basement, haunted tunnel kind of thing, and has people over and charges admission to go through this haunted tunnel. She does it with her little sister. So, I don't think you need to read this in a series in order to understand it or enjoy the characters or anything like that. I will say her and Jay's friendship was a little weird and underdeveloped, and so there is a little bit of that. But otherwise, this was cute. It was not my favorite, but my girls really liked it and wanted to get more from the series, and so yeah, and she makes brain lists a lot, and I'm like, hey lady, I understand that, and so. Overall, this was good, and we have the rest of the series for my daughters to read, probably independently. I think it's perfectly wholesome for them to do that. And then I read How to Save a Library, and this is by, let's see who the author is. It is a NetGalley read for me, so I don't know physically. It is Colleen Nelson, and this, I think, comes out in November. I'm not sure. I'll try to put the date down below or on the screen or somewhere, but it comes out, and it is about a boy who is just moved to this new town with his dad. He's being raised by a single dad, and they move all the time. His dad's a librarian, and so I'm not really sure why they move all the time. I wouldn't think librarians are like a traveling job as much as it is, but whatever. So they move. And they get in this new town, and he's like, I just don't want to move anymore. I really like this place. I'm not trying to pack up and move again. However, the library is in danger of being shut down because it's like a historic site, and they take it off the historic list because it is in danger. It just is requiring too many repairs. And so if that happens, they're going to have to move again. And so he joins this network called Kids Can, and he tries to raise money for the library so he can save the library. There's a library duck that always comes and then has her ducklings there and stuff. And so there's that. He also is very into soccer, and so I liked that element. So he had 2 female best friends, and something happened that tore that friendship apart. We don't find out what that something is until about halfway through, and I thought that was annoying. Honestly, because it kept being alluded to. And so it was annoying. Then he has 2 boy best friends who are on the soccer team with him, and they are a bad influence. And so there's a lot of conversation around you're innocent if you don't do anything, but surrounding yourself with bad people doesn't make you feel good. That kind of conversation. I really like that. Overall, this was a good book. I really disliked the format on NetGalley, so I'm really hoping that they repair that and fix that in the actual publishing. I read it on ebook, obviously, and I did not like that at all. But other things to note, at the end, there is a LGBTQ thing thrown in as a plot twist, and I don't love that. I don't love that at all. For middle grade, for a plot twist, I don't think it's an appropriate plot twist. That's just about I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like mental health being used as a plot twist. I don't like anything like that being used as a plot twist. And so that kind of rubbed me wrong. It also was a very, very convenient ending. So, I don't know. It's not one that I'm going to pass down to my kids, but I read it and it was fine. So now let's talk about the adult books. So we have The Second Chance Cinema by Thea Weiss. And now this one I actually really enjoyed this one. This one is a magical realism about a couple who meet, and then they are very different. We flash forward a couple years, they're together, and she is some sort of kind of like a diners, drive-ins, and dives, but she discovers all sorts of like holes in the wall and writes about them, has a show about them, all that kind of stuff. And he is Mr. I go to 3 places because they're comfortable, I know what I like, all that kind of stuff. So of course, as their relationship progresses, and they've been together a while, they both kind of meet toward the middle. However, they stumble upon this cinema one night, and it has a midnight showing of a video of a movie that's like, I can't remember what it's called. Like something about the story of you or something. I don't know. So they sit down to watch it, and it's their, like, basically home movies of them as babies. So both of them, like, first we go through his and then we go through hers, and they're like, what the heck? And so they go back for 10 Saturdays or something. It's a certain number of Saturdays in a row to this midnight showing, and they are watching their lives unfold on the screen. Now, they make a deal that's like, what happens in the cinema stays in the cinema, which that's not a good idea. Like, if you're hiding secrets or if you've got things that you don't want your significant other to know, that is not a good idea, because you can't unsee it. You can't, like, I don't know. And in general, I think this is a weird thing to do because, seeing your spouse with other people is a lot different than, like, just knowing they exist. And so there's a lot of, like, things that could go on. And then there's something, like, that I think is somewhat unforgivable. I mean, it's a pretty intense thing. And there's, the way they get over that seems a little, I don't know. I didn't love that part at all, but I liked this book and I just really enjoyed the magical realism twist. And I really enjoyed thinking about, like, if that was us, how would we navigate that? Like, and she needed to kind of see some of her past unfold in order to heal from some things. And so for her, it was very cathartic, but for them as a relationship, it's a challenge. And so I thought this was really interesting. I enjoyed it. Not my favorite. And, like I said, there were some things that happened that I was like, if this were my relationship, I don't know that we would rebound from this, but maybe. So there's that. And then a book that I really did not like is The Haunting of Maddie Clare by Simone St. James. So I was supposed to read this with a couple gals, Jen from the Bookish Blonde, and I don't know why I just blanked on her name. And then Amber from Books and Beaches was going to join in, and I started this book, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this. And I ended up reading it, but I just bumped it up on speed because this is about a woman named Sarah, and Sarah is hired as a an assistant kind of to an author who writes about ghost hauntings and stuff. And so she is asked to, like, go in, try to get this ghost to leave because stuff, they don't get the money unless the ghost leaves. And so she goes and she has encounters with this ghost, and this ghost is unhinged. Like, she is unhinged. But there is a romance in this book, and it was gross. I didn't like it. It gave me the ick. I kind of had the ick about this book going in. I'm not really sure why. And so I just didn't like it. I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the romance. I just didn't like it. And now I've only read The Broken Girls, maybe. I think The Broken Girls is the only one that I've read by Simone St. James, and I really liked it. I didn't love it, but I really enjoyed it. So it makes sense to me that, like, she's not an auto-buy author for me, and this is her debut. So it makes sense that this would be potentially my least favorite. Like, I'm not writing her off, but I don't think this has, like, pushed me into eagerly picking up more Simone St. James. So there's that. And then the last thing is Rhythms of Renewal by Rebecca Lyons. So this is an interesting book. Actually, I'm going to look at my review because I took much better notes in my review than I have right here. So hold on one second. Okay, so this book I gave it like a 3.5 stars. I really liked it, but I think it lacks some nuance, which I feel like is something I've been saying about a lot of these kind of self-helpy books. This is hard to see because it's so, like, muted anyway, and then the glare. But this, the premise is that we are supposed to nurture ourselves in 4 areas: rest, restore, connect, and create. And we make ourselves healthier, less prone to anxiety, because the subtitle is covered by the sticker. Do I have it written anywhere? Let's see. We've got trading stress and anxiety for a life of peace and purpose. So again, with any of these kind of anxiety self-help books, I think it lacks. This one specifically, like, it's not always something you can just fix by your mindset and things. Like, these are definitely helpful. I think she also is a little bit like I figured it out, so I got this kind of attitude. And but anyway, I like the two of them. So we have rest and restore, which are kind of internal things to do to take care of yourself, and then connect and create, which are more outward things, and things involving others or involving things and things that really help you in that way. And that we're, if we're healthier, if we're resting, taking good care of our bodies, basically, then we're more able to do more things and be less anxious. And so each of these areas has multiple components underneath it. So rest is not just getting more sleep. It is a whole bunch of other things. And as the mom of 4 small children, most of this was impractical for me. So the takeaway from this book is what? I can be better once my kids are grown. I wish there was a little bit more of like, here's the action steps, here's the priority, here's the grace of, not being able to do all the things all the time. But they were really great reminders. It was good reminders to prioritize movement, sleep, creativity, because truthfully, like, that's what YouTube is for me, is a moment of creativity that it doesn't require stuff. Like, I have a Cricut that I love, and I homeschool my kids and could do 1,000 different projects, but that requires physical stuff being set out that nobody's going to mess with it. And YouTube is a little bit more user-friendly in that way. But anyway, I really like this, but I think I would want to revisit it when I have a little more capacity to implement all the things she's talking about, or some of the things, because I think this is a good reminder, but not perfect. So that's okay. Now, current reads. The kids and I are listening to Summer According to Humphrey, and this is number, 6, 5, something, and it's about summer break and what happens to Humphrey during that, and it's really cute. Then we are also physically reading number 5 or 6 or something in the Kicks, which is called Shaken Up, and this is a series that follows a middle school soccer team in California, and our main character is a girl who moves from Connecticut to Southern California and experiences her first earthquake, as well as some other things going on. It takes place in right now in this book, it's winter. It's their winter soccer season, and we are starting winter soccer on Saturday. So very timely, and we're really enjoying it. And then I am reading Kitty St. Clair's Last Dance, and I just started this morning, so I'm not very far into it, but the writing style is one that's got me hooked. I really have liked Kate Robb in the past, and so my hopes are high for this one. But it's about a girl named Jules, and it is so far so good. I don't have a lot to say except that the writing style has me hooked. I'm also going to finish my devotional this week. It's Tonight We Pray for the Mama. I've talked about it a lot. I will show it next week and give a little bit more of a review, but I think that's it. I think that's everything. So let me know, what was the best thing you read? What are you currently reading? Have you read any of these things? Let me know, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.